Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Woke Culture K. You're here with your boy Art. Today, guys, I got a bunch of viral prison clips for y'all. I know you're gonna love them, guys. I'm gonna get right into them. Before I do, though, take a second, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, drop a comment, share the video, guys, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. Now let's get right into these clips.
Here are the top prison guards who crossed the line with inmates. Do you think guards and inmates should be charged for falling in love? Let us know below. Number 10, Nancy Gonzalez. Nancy was working on the death row in Brooklyn when she met Ronell Wilson, an inmate on death row for taking the lives of two undercover police officers during a weapons sting gone wrong. The two began to talk and reportedly quickly fell in love. Gonzalez was intent on keeping Wilson free and alive and was actively working to delay his execution to give them more time together. She would become pregnant and give birth to his child, which they named Justice. However, Gonzalez was sentenced to a year and a day in prison, while Wilson really can't be given a worse sentence. However, it is possible he will meet his fateful day more quickly due to the controversy. Nancy still attests to being deeply in love with Wilson and will raise their child to remember him well once she is out of prison. Number 9. Allison Sharples. Allison may be one of the strangest cases on this list. The 47-year-old had fallen in love with an inmate at her prison. The grandmother met gangster Marvin Berkeley after he was incarcerated for assault and substance charges and seemed to be utterly enraptured with him. She was found to have love letters from him after being caught with the most damning piece of evidence. Her handbag was searched as she left the prison one day, only for the screener to find a shocking item: a syringe filled with Marvin's genetic material. She claimed she had intended to use it in a similar manner to a turkey baster so she could have Marvin's child, but she would instead be sentenced to 9 months in prison. Perhaps just enough time. Number 8. Caleb Shane Hopkins. Caleb Hopkins is one of the most disturbed guards on this list. While other prison guards at least had the claim of love behind their escapades, Caleb is a predator through and through. Prison guards hold an incredible amount of power over the inmates in their care and could single-handedly be responsible for an inmate being given preferential treatment or being put in solitary confinement. This is why prisoners cannot consent. The power differential is just too great. And indeed, Caleb would exploit his position of power to exploit the women in the women's prison who he had access to. Caleb repeatedly accosted Mrs. Fowler until she eventually became pregnant with his child. She gave up the child to her parents after giving birth, but is still in the same prison, suffering from severe trauma. Hopkins, on the other hand, would plead guilty to multiple counts of SA and is now thankfully serving prison time. Number 7. Bobby Parker. The story of Bobby Parker is a sad and confusing one. Bobby was a guard and worker at the Oklahoma State Reformatory, as well as being the wife of the prison warden. She met Randolph Dial, a man sentenced to life for the taking of a life in 1981, and stories differ, but it's believed that the two met during a pottery for prisoners class that Bobby ran. They began to get closer, and it's believed that they fell in love. Dial and Parker would engage in illicit acts as per witness testimony, and at some point, Dial decided to use Parker to escape. Holding her hostage with a weapon, Dial escaped and kidnapped her before going on the run to a small Texan community where the two lived quietly for almost 11 years. Despite both Parker and Dial asserting that Parker was kidnapped and forced through threat of harm to her family to stay with Dial, the official position seems to be that she was a willing and eager participant in the escape. Parker, however, vehemently denies this after having returned to her family in 2005, after an anonymous tip brought law enforcement down on her and Dial. Parker maintains she was kidnapped and has spent over a decade missing her family and children while being severely mistreated by Dial. She was, however, convicted and sentenced to just over a year and a half of prison time. Number 6. Lawana Sharp. After a routine monitoring check of the prison's payment service, JPay uncovered a false account, prison authorities began to investigate the guards at the Graceville Correctional Facility. What they found was shocking. They revealed that Lawana Sharp, a correctional officer at the prison, had been having a secret relationship with an unnamed inmate for several months and had been using the alias Candy Williams to receive payment for smuggling contraband. The couple engaged in indecent acts in numerous public areas of the prison, resulting in in numerous charges for Luana. Worse still, she had been smuggling in contraband on her person for her intimate lover and numerous of his friends. Over the course of 67 payments, she was paid well over $12,000 and would smuggle in over 600 cigars alone. Sharp has been charged with more than 70 crimes, including 67 counts of unlawful compensation, unlawful interactions with an inmate, and smuggling charges. Sharp received payments from inmates' families and friends, and it's likely would have expanded her operations given how much she was being given in return. It's likely she will be put in prison for a life sentence with parole, though sadly for Sharp, she won't be imprisoned with her inmate lover. Number 5. Vicky White. For 16 years, Vicky White was a model sheriff's deputy, running the jail in Lauderdale County, Alabama. She was closely trusted by the sheriff and her colleagues and was generally regarded as a highly capable and responsible officer. However, in April of 2022, she would betray the trust of her colleagues and help murderer Casey White to escape from the prison she had kept secure for nearly 2 decades. The two had developed a romantic relationship, and though they had never made physical contact in the prison, to anyone's knowledge, they did spend a lot of time texting and calling one another. Just hours before the escape, Vicky told her colleagues she would be taking Casey to the courthouse for a mental evaluation. This was a clear violation of the prison rules, however, Vicky was allowed to leave with Casey. The pair immediately fled and ditched the patrol car for another plateless getaway car, and Vicky, it turned out, had sold her home for half its market value to buy the getaway car and provisions to help Casey escape. As the prison was made aware of the escape, several inmates came forward to reveal the true romantic depth of the relationship. The duo swapped cars 4 times before eventually being chased by police in a gray Cadillac. As police closed in, the Cadillac hit a tree and crashed.
Listen, for everyone out there that has never been in jail or in prison that might think something like this is uncommon, believe me, it happens everywhere. Like every jail, prison I've ever been in my whole life, there's something going on where the female guards are sleeping with the male inmates. The male guards are always sleeping with the female inmates. You know, and if they're not sleeping with them in the jail, they're hitting them up when they get out on work release, house arrest, you know? So, but listen, where I'm from, Lackawanna County, Pennsylvania, there's always scandals. There's a big scandal a few years ago where a whole bunch of guards got charged with. I know a girl personally that got $250,000 out of it. So, and these girls are in there looking for it. They want it while they're there. And then as soon as they get out, they realize, damn, I can sue these people. I can say he... Because no matter what, guys, anytime a CO is sleeping with an inmate, it's institutional. There's no consensual sex within prison, period. It doesn't matter how old you are, what the situation is, there's no such thing as consensual sex inside of a prison, period. So, you see this shit happen all the time. Guys, I got a crazy story. I got tons of stories to tell you guys about all sorts of shit, about prison and all that stuff, and running the streets. But I personally, as soon as I get to the jail, I'm looking for weak links in the COs. I'm hitting them all up, start off just saying what's up to them.
Hey!
You know, the ones that are acting a little more friendly, and I say, all right, cool. I start talking to them a little bit. And another thing, I'd always get the block runner job. You always gotta get a block job in my jail anyways. It gets you up personal with the COs. You get to interact with them all day out in the bubble and shit. So you talk to them for a couple weeks, whatever. Or maybe Christmas is coming up. Maybe they mention their wife's birthday. Anything where, you know, they might need some extra money or something. But so you build a little relationship with them. You increase it little by little. You know, start with what's up. Then increase it to something maybe a little more personal you guys are talking about. Then, you know, hey, can I get a milk? Right? And then if they give you the milk, all right, cool, he's willing to break some rules. And you just build off that, guys. Listen, when we're in jail, we got nothing but time. So if you have a wife or a girlfriend that's working in there, I don't care how ugly she is, she's getting sweet talked all day, she's getting piped out, all that. Whether she's a nurse, whatever, you're getting cheated on, bro. I'm telling you now. Because all these women do it. They all sneak shit in. I mean, listen, they don't pay these COs enough. You can always crack these guys. You crack the guys with or money, and you crack the women with dick. Plain and simple.
Spent 10 years in prison, been out a few years, and women stink. So I'm gonna tell you guys the most shocking thing I found out about females in general that I did not know and would not have known had I not gone to prison for a decade. So when you get to prison, you are forced to take a shower. It's a mandatory shower. You don't have a choice in it. But once you get to your dorm, that's when you will start using the communal showers, the communal toilets, the communal everything, okay? When I got to the dorm that night, I got in the shower. I don't know what it is, but something about there being 8 shower heads and a lot of steam with no windows around and not very good ventilation. Something about all that steam and hot water hitting that really, really cheap lye soap, it just exposes you, okay? If you have anything going on that's not in check, the soap is telling on you. Y'all, when I hit that shower and that night, I looked around and everybody, because I was like, oh my God, am I the only one smelling this? Everyone's like, because that's a face everyone would do to let each other know, yes, we all smell it. It's not just you smelling it, you're not crazy, we all smell it. So I'm looking around and I'm looking at them and they're all like, and I start too, who is it? Well, it's not hard to find out. Because once everyone starts to smell it, you will know that the person washing the cooter pack, the fanny pack, that's who's stankin'. That's who's stankin' it up. So the shower will be the first instance that will tell on somebody and expose them, but it's not the last, because you can also have a toilet incident, okay? If you are in a 2-man cell and you're locked in with somebody, you are going to, you guys have to pee or poo at some point in time, okay? The toilet's in the room with you, you guys are locked in there all night. You're gonna have to go to the bathroom. Whenever that person sits down and gets up and then flushes, it wafts everything into the air. So you just have these wafting arrays of smells all the time, okay? And when things waft, they wave to you. It waves. It's like a wavy, smelly wave to your direction. So whether you go on the toilet behind somebody else and they leave that lingering smell there, or you're in a cell with somebody, you're gonna smell it on a toilet. I don't know. It's like the toilet just holds the smell. You're gonna smell it. There's also just the random occasions when like women they're sitting on a bed and they just open their legs, or they like do a real like harsh motion, they get momentum and they just get up and then it just wafts out of them and you smell it. Listen, it's not what y'all think. Everything that glitters ain't gold, okay? It's just not. It's not gold. You guys see makeup and hair and clothes and all this as a sign of everything is A1 underneath, and that's just not the case. If I can smell you, I know you can smell yourself, okay? I don't get it. If you have some sort of something going on, digging soap way up in you, trying to like make it smell clean or different, it's not gonna help. People out there, beware. Like I said, everything that glitters isn't gold, so beware. There's some stanky seafood buffets walking around out there with some hella good makeup on and some pretty clothes that make their bodies look good. They stank. Be safe. Be stank free. And I love you guys, okay? There's the one thing I learned in female prison that I didn't know about women. See y'all in the next one. Later.
Listen, she is not kidding. As soon as you get close to the female unit, you can smell it. Like, that smell just never goes away. So I can only imagine what it smells like on the block. I remember one time, I'm gonna get into the whole story, in a video by itself one of these days, but at one point when I was in jail, they were trying to isolate me from the rest of the jail, from being able to get stuff around. And there's a one female block that was like almost down, it was like on the basement floor of the jail, tucked away, and you really had no access to many blocks. But I still had access, and I'll tell you guys how in another video. So anyways, like I was saying, by trying to isolate me, they moved me down to the female unit off of the male unit. The male unit was on the first floor of the jail. The female unit was in like the basement floor of the jail. And like I said, they thought they were gonna be able to isolate me and stuff. So not only did they move me down there, they moved the whole male unit down to the female unit, and the whole female unit up to the male unit. And boy, when we got down there, that block stunk. But I can tell you what though, it was immaculate clean. Like them girls, they really make them scrub the steps with toothbrushes and stuff to keep like the Velcro clean. you know, not the Velcro, the grip, whatever the hell it's called. But yeah, man, that shit stinks down there. Like, you gotta remember, you got a bunch of wildebeest down there working out, eating friggin' honey buns and jail food, and man, getting stuff sick, getting food sent to them down through the toilets. Like, man, listen, I got a bunch of crazy stories for y'all, like I was saying. But yo, that girl that she was saying about the shit thing, she is not playing. And shout out to that girl, man. I like her content. And I know one thing. When I was in jail, I ain't never seen no girls that look like that. I guess federal prison's different though.
In a young age, representing, but he ran across this guy. And when this guy jammed him up and asked him this and that, well, what's this and who is this and boom, 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 Lil' homie didn't know nothing. So they jammed Lil' homie up one time in the cell. There's always gonna be another dude somewhere that's on the same level as the, you know, the big homie. I ain't gonna say big homie, but they big homie was. So they jammed him up in the cell, did what they did to him. I ain't gotta say it, y'all already know. After they got done, they made him leave out the cell and go back to his cell, which was on the second tier. The reason the police was able to find out because, you know, they'll tell you, you can't report that. You better not go tell it. And so the dude was trying to go upstairs to his cell, but when he was going upstairs to his cell, the police was walking behind him to do, you know, just a random check. Well, I guess the police was too late for his random check. As the dude was walking up the steps, man, to get to the second tier, the police noticed feces balls. Now I'm gonna make it sound gruesome so y'all know it's true. Dookie balls. So y'all know this shit's real. This is what you get yourself into if you go in a penitentiary, especially if you're weak. This can happen to you. I'm not just sitting here blowing hot air, man. I'm trying to stop y'all from making dumb decisions and going there. But as he was walking up the stairs, Dookie balls was falling out of his pants leg onto the step. The police.
For everybody out there that thinks that stuff doesn't happen, trust me, it does. And it happens even in the county jails. I have stories I'm gonna tell you guys about that too. I decided, guys, listen, I'm gonna get into all my stories with you guys. So just be ready. I'm gonna be releasing videos probably once a week with a personal story, something like that. But hey, yo, guys, that's it for the clips today. I hope you enjoyed them. I also hope you enjoyed hearing my stories in between. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.